everyone, it's Suzy Smart with It Was the News. And it was the news, that's for sure. There is actual real news out there. And some of it's pretty strange. Just downright peculiar. But we're going to have some of it here this morning. As you guys might be able to tell, I'm dragging a little bit today. Medications are starting to wear off, and the problem with my jaw is starting to come back. Not the most fun thing I have ever been through. I have a doctor's appointment later today, and hopefully they'll be able to come up with some kind of something to get this mess under control. Yeah, you're going to hear all kinds of blings and glings today. I tried to download something to share with you, but it's not necessarily in the mood to be sharing it with anyone this morning. Don't know why. It just gets that way. Necessarily in the mood to be sharing it with anyone this morning. Shut up. Don't know why. It just gets that way. Now we know why Suzy Smart got straight A's in school and C's in conduct, because she just didn't know when to shut up. And that's a true story about this particular Suzy Smart. I did make straight A's, and I was a grade ahead of where I should have been, but my dad wouldn't let me skip. So I wandered around the classroom bored and getting into trouble. And so for pretty much my entire school career, I was the smart kid who was always in trouble. That's just the way it worked out. And YouTube likes to keep that going for me by talking over my stream. So, those of you who popped in last night for my regular show were probably very disappointed. I know I was. The show was fine, but there are so few available spots. You know, somebody's always going to be screaming over somebody. Good morning, James Eller. How are you today? First mod in the house. Appreciate it very much. I seem to have a shortage of mods lately. They have all... when I got sick, they found other things to do, and I understand that, but it still hurts your feelings when you plan a big comeback show and nobody comes back, and you find that they are over in somebody else's stream doing whatever it is they're doing. So I guess that just means I have to work harder to produce better quality shows. If you're ever expecting something that's going to look like the Hoover Boys or Green Mountain or any of that stuff, I don't have the equipment or the capabilities to do that stuff, so I'm just going to keep plugging away with what I do, and maybe somebody will like it, and if they don't, then at least the news will be recorded for posterity, and years down the road somebody may need this information. So, good morning, good morning. I'm going to try one more time to find this thing I downloaded. I've been looking for it for a long time, and then I found it, and I can't get it to play. Well, It's just the way it goes. It's early in the morning, and I'm going to try. I found two of them. Let's see if I can get either one of them to play. There's my alter ego there on the screen, Ms. Suzy Smart. I just don't seem to be able to find where I shared it to. So we'll try her again.
Is that so you can like she has a desk, she has a face. What do you mean, my darling? My name is Suzy Smart. She can talk! She can talk? What can she add? Twinkle, star, spot, T-E-T. You can spell! Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Really? Thanks! Press the button, she says a dozen things, complete with desk, blackboard, and seat. Suzy Smart, sold at flea markets only.
As you can tell, I found the Suzy Smart song. I've been looking for it. It's not a very good copy, but I found it because I couldn't remember the words to it. But anyway, I found my Suzy Smart theme song from 1960, and I just got such a kick out of that. And I appreciate, James, that you are showing up. I picked a bad time, I guess, to do this, but it's the only time I have, and I have made people angry, which will not be the first time in my life. When you have, I suffer from bipolar disorder, and I'm not going to hide that. And so sometimes I do some things that people don't quite understand. If I suffered from a disease like thyroidism, which I do, but people don't understand diseases of the brain, and they think you can just stop doing what you're doing and so forth, and you can't. And so sometimes I shoot my mouth off a little bit, but I am a true believer in the freedoms granted to me by the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and one of those is that I can shoot my mouth off if I want to. So, we do have some news stories this morning, but I'm also playing with some coins left over from yesterday. Those who did not make it last night did not get to hear about my box of nickels that were supposed to be uncirculated, but in fact that were supposed to be circulated, but in fact appear to be almost all 2020Ps. And I'm not going to open all these rolls of 2020Ps. I picked out 5 or 6 that looked like the enders were a little grubby or whatever. And so we're going to do those. We're going to do some cats and dogs, get people signed up for the big prize. And then I'm going to have to figure out what we're going to do. I may just stop doing shows altogether. I had a fan base at one time. Now I don't seem to have one. I was pretty disappointed last night. After my show went over, well, I found at least 4 people that were streaming over my show who could have started their streams at other times, but just chose to stream over my show. So, I don't know what to do at this point. I may just go back to strictly making videos with no live stream at all. I may just quit doing everything. But for right now, I got this box of pennies that I was supposed to be in a penny roll hunt, but I guess I got thrown out of that for daring to stream against Ida. I love Ida. I just don't like some of the stuff that goes on her show. I had some people be very hateful to me there, so I quit going. And this is my only time that I have is when I have my coffee and stuff. So this is when I'm going to be on and blah, blah, blah. So I do have some articles for this morning, for This Was the News. But I'm going to start out. I've got this roll of pennies that I already opened, so I figure I might as well go through them real quick. This box is a mixed box of customer rolled unmarked, customer rolls marked by someone with the initials TLC, and some machine rolled pennies. So I'm going to just go through this roll that I have open so I can get them off of my desk. And then we're going to do some news. And I think I got a good one today. I'm still quite excited about the discovery I made in the article that informed us that the Indian on the Indian head penny is not an Indian at all. So that one was pretty interesting. So now I have another one coming up about who is actually on the Barber Quarter. But before we do that, I got to get these pennies off my desk. So I got to see if I can get my microscope working this morning. It does not seem to be wanting to work and play well with others. Okay, I think it's plugged in. I have not enough places to plug things in, and it creates a problem. Camera, come on. Come on, come on. Be there. Where is my camera? Okay, there's that. That's back. One down, one to go. Camera and mic. Microscope. Audio. That should give me my audio back. But I still am not getting my scope. I don't understand. Let's unplug him and plug him in somewhere else. Let's see if that works. I have all this Mickey Mouse tools here. See if that did it. No, I still don't have the scope. Well, we may not do the pennies then. Good morning, Jack Gallman. How are you? We're having technical issues. There's my scope. I knew it was here somewhere. So we're going to do this crazy roll of pennies that I have laying out on the desk. And then we're going to flip over and do a couple articles that I found for this morning. And we'll see how it goes after that. I have got to get something to put these pennies in. I buy these wonderful little containers over at the Dollar Tree. But I am out of them and they are out of them. So this is just going to be kind of a mess that I'll have to clean up later. But it's all right. Let's throw the ones I don't want in there. Basically, I'm just looking for Wheaties and that sort of thing, and sorting copper from zinc. Got my big copper jar. It's empty, so I can use it again. I cashed in my copper, much as I did not want to. But anyway, in my excitement last night, I won a $50 credit over at Big T's Coins for the December birthday group. So I will have to get over there on one of their streams and see if I can find some groovies to pick up either for my collection or to give away on my channel. We did get some more folks signed up last night playing cats and dogs. And I am going to look over at the dollar store and see if they have games with other animals involved. I just happened to get those cats and dogs cards in my Christmas stocking. And so we have been using those. But everyone seems to want other critters like ducks and gerbils, armadillos. I don't know where in the world I would find cards with armadillos, but yeah, we got some strange folks hanging around over here down at Miss Suzy's shop. Oh, I better not call it a shop. I could get in some kind of copyright infringement or something for, I don't know. I'm just I gotta turn the night bot on. I forgot to wake him up this morning. Get his little giveaway going so he can tell me who's in the house. I do have a doctor's appointment this afternoon. It seems like I have one every afternoon. People don't necessarily realize, if I say I'm sick, I'm not just saying, hey, I don't feel good. No, I'm sick. I've been in the ER twice in the past week, And the bad problem is that they're all guessing. Nobody knows what's really wrong with me. They're just guessing at things. And so they don't know what to give me to make me feel better. So I'm trying to do these shows to make me feel better. Doesn't always work. I'm going to have to hit my refresh button. So if you lose me for a second. I hope you have been out detecting, Miss Mary. I have been 3 or 4 times and found me a good spot. I just have to be able to get back to it. But not really finding anything other than clad. And a lot of people gripe, oh, I just found clad, I just found clad. Well, I like finding money. I do. I mean, I would prefer to be finding silver and all of the wonderful things that I see on the big channels, but I am perfectly content if I come home with a pocket full of clad. Clad is what paid for my metal detector. Jack Gallman, I have a doctor's appointment this morning also. Need to get ready. You take care. I'll see you later. Good luck with your appointment, Jack. I know you are having a lot of the same kind of issues that I am, where you're spending a lot of time down there with the medicos who aren't really telling you much. So I am hopeful they will find something to help you. And I will see you later. I see you in a lot of the streams. And hopefully everything will go well for you. Normally I would not be sorting pennies on the It Was the News show. Yep, a target is a target. There you go, Mary. And sometimes I have found targets that I dug just because I was getting nothing at all, and said, well, even a beaver tail pull tab would be better than not breaking the ground, and have turned out to find like a gold ring or something. Like the other day, I was leaving a playground and I got this little squeaker of a signal, and I'm like, I'm not really gonna dig that up. But I really hadn't found anything in there, so I said, well, I'm gonna go ahead and see what it is. It was a number I don't usually dig. And it was like a 46 or something on the simplex. And I dug it up, and while it was not a precious metal piece of jewelry, it was a little kid's piece of jewelry. It was a little pendant shaped like a star. It had a little rhinestone in it, and it said BFF. So on my way out, I got my best friend forever. I have found a few of those in tot lots, all different varieties. And I think I'm going to make a shadow box with nothing but little BFF charms. But I would normally have skipped that sound. And it turned out to be one of the cutest things I found all day. So, yeah, a target is a target. Although sometimes I have a bad habit as a detectorist, and my bad habit is because of my disabilities. Sometimes I just won't dig far enough. You know, I'll dig a few inches and give up and say, oh, well, I'll leave that one for somebody else. Just because I know my back is not going to appreciate me digging this giant hole. The other day I dug about 10 inches down because I kept getting a quarter sound. And it turned out it was not a quarter at all. It was a rusty bottle cap and a dime. But I got a dime out of it. So, but yeah, it was a mess. Let me see. I had an article I picked out today. We're going to talk about dimes since I dug up that dime. Let me pull my little article up. And we're going to read a little bit about the lady on the Mercury dime. Is it a lady at all? Well, who is that on the Mercury dime? Let me get my camera switched over here. I'm painfully slow with all of this stuff, especially in the morning, because this is the I haven't had my coffee yet show. Some of these people, they get up and they do like they look like they've had their makeup done and their hair is all perfect, and I'm like in my house coat going, and truthfully, I think that's where most of us are at this hour. I don't think most of us are actually up with our hair done. And, I really think most of us are probably sitting here in our house coat going, thank God they can't see me. Okay. Did I get it? I still didn't get it. Come on. Let's add it to the stream, Suzy. There we go. We found our article. This article is from the Town Talk of Alexandria, Louisiana, on the 4th of June, 1967. So it's not as old as some of the stuff that I've been doing. Mississippi Mary, I have a friend that I detect with. His name's Anthony Newton. We call him Fig. And Fig has a tendency to joke around with me that, I need to quit digging because my shovel is hitting the wok where the Chinese food is being prepared, and he can smell the food. So, yeah, I know about that digging to China deal. So I probably leave a lot of stuff behind, but somebody will find it. Good morning, Stan. How are you today? Okay, so we're going to do this little article this morning from 1967 about the Mercury dime. And it says, this lady, often identified as Mercury, is in fact Liberty, wearing I have to learn to pronounce these words if I'm going to read these articles. Phrygian cap, symbolizing freedom of thought. The 1916 10-cent piece was designed by Albert A. Weinman, who also designed the Walking Liberty half dollar. So there's something you might not know. Weinman's model for liberty was the beautiful wife of the famous American poet Wallace Stevens. So this was not some random person that he sketched out of his head. This was based on an actual lady. Since the dime is the only silver coin not required by law to display an eagle on the reverse, Weinman chose the fasces, an ancient Roman symbol of authority, as the reverse device. It denotes strength and unity with a preparedness to defend the Union. The olive branch around the fasces declares our preference for peace. All dates, including the two scarce dates, 1916D and 1942 over 1941, are still being found in circulation, which makes the Mercury dime series very popular among collectors. The 1916D, with a total mintage of less than 265,000, has a value ranging from $60 in its poorest condition to $1,000 uncirculated. Now, bear in mind, folks, this was in 1967, so I'm certain those prices have changed substantially by now. The 1942 over 1941 has been established as part of the complete series and is available at prices from $50 to $450, depending upon its grade. This date is still popping up in pocket change in conditions very good to find, with values up to $100. Now, seriously, I doubt you could pick one up for $100 now, but in 1967, you could still find one in your change from Woolworths. The dime has had more than its share of low mintage years, and consequently, most dates have a value in excess of the face value. The 6 blue chip dates, in conditions from good to uncirculated, are in the order of their values. 1921D, 1921, 1931D, 1926S, 1931S, and the 1925D. Minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, the mint letter will be found on the lower left reverse after the E in 1 and close to the stem of the olive branch. A note of advice before buying, selling, or trading any coin: have it checked by an authority on the subject of mint marks. Mint marks have been placed on falsely and removed from coins to increase their values. So I just learned a whole bunch of stuff about Mercury dimes, and I learned something else the other day as well that they don't mention in here. They do mention the olive branch, but what they don't mention is that there is also a small oak branch piece in here. Now, that was in a different article, and I'm going to have to pull that up and mush these two together to make the full story. But this is the second article in 2 days where I have pulled up things that debunked what most people think, particularly about the people on coins. Yesterday, we debunked the idea that the Indian on an Indian head penny was an actual Indian. It was not. It was a model, the daughter of a friend of the designer of the Indian head penny. Today, we discovered that the lady who is identified as Mercury, and Mercury was a male, so I find that kind of interesting anyway. But this was based on the wife of American poet Wallace Stevens. So we may think we know our coins, but you go back and read some of this history, turns out we don't know jack. We don't know a lot of stuff we think we know. Uh, so those were some interesting little things to learn. I'm going to refresh my uh, Facebook. Listen to me this morning. My YouTube screen. Uh, I appreciate the couple of people that show up. And I even appreciate the person that shows up every morning and gives me the thumb down, because, they can keep thumbing their nose at me all day long. It really doesn't matter. They're still taking their time to come over here and have a little visit. So I'm going to pull us up another article real quick. Some of this stuff, because I started out more as a detectorist than a coin enthusiast, although I did have a coin collection. I find it very interesting to actually learn the history of the coins. I find it much more interesting than uh, going over and listening to people talk about what they melted down and poured out of silver. I kind of hate that people are melting down coins to make other things out of them. I'm funny that way. I would prefer to keep those coins intact. And it bothers me when they melt down jewelry, because I make jewelry. And it just, I don't know, it's hard on my soul. Some of the stuff they make is beautiful, but nonetheless, it's not something that I'm crazy about. As you can see here, I am scrolling through the articles. I really was looking for one specific one that I clipped earlier, and then I realized it's not going to be here. It's going to be in my clippings. I have access to these newspapers because I do family history research, and I have to look up things like wedding announcements and obituaries and that sort of thing. So, this was one I was looking for yesterday, could not find. This is about the pennies they made in 1943 when they needed our metal goods for other war efforts. And so this is non-copper pennies in circulation soon. If the next handful of change you receive contains a penny that's the wrong color and doesn't ring properly when dropped, don't call for the FBI, for the penny will probably be a new war penny. Although the local bank has not called for a shipment of pennies recently, the new coins are now in Cheyenne and other banks receiving recent shipments. With a dull silver color, the new penny at a careless glance might be mistaken for a dime. Its color and dead sound are due to the fact that it is made of steel coated with zinc. Although all metals are precious in wartime, the government has found that copper is more valuable in war equipment than in coins, and that sufficient steel and zinc can be spared to pinch hit for copper in pennies. The new penny is the same size and has the same design as the current Lincoln penny. So this was April of 1943, and they were just rolling them out for the first time. So that's another little bit of excitement. in the coin world that some people, I mean, war pennies are usually a pretty well-known commodity, but I just like to know when it happened and a little for how it happened, because I do a lot of things on my channel that are for the beginners. Not everybody is going to go on and understand all of the stuff that's being discussed in the advanced channels. This I thought was cool. This is also from 1943, and I wanted it to go with that article. This is the titled, oops, let me get it back on there. Now Pale Pennies. And I want you to see, because it's very different how we think the pennies were being made and how the pennies were actually being made. So this is from Franklin, Indiana, March 5th, 1943, and it's called New Pale Pennies. And if you look at the photograph, what you're seeing is a sheet of metal, or several sheets of metal, with the little holes punched out of it. Most of the time we think that there's a machine that all the little round planchets are fed into and line up in the little hole, and they are stamped. But these pennies were being punched out of sheets. And the inscription says, Paul S. Heckman, Philadelphia mint production boss, holds a used sheet of zinc-coated steel, metal from which the new non-copper white penny is being punched at the rate of 500,000 a day. Now, this photograph, to me, says volumes, because they were not these little round planches. They were these sheets of metal. They're feeding them through the machine and punching them out. And what makes me curious is, how did they get them lined up? Did these sheets punch both sides at the same time? Or did they punch out the one side and then somehow have to flip all those over? It's a whole different engineering question there. But I find it very interesting to see. And one of the reasons is that I find that interesting is I have seen the same things done with pearl buttons, where big shells were punched, and they were not actually pearls, but they were the inside of these shells. And you can find these shells in the Mississippi River with hundreds of little holes like that punched in it, and those came from button factories. My family is from a town called Muscatine, Iowa, and there were several button factories there in the late 1800s. And we will still pull shells out that look like that, where they have just punch, 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 punch. So, anyway, I've been here for 45 minutes, and I have no audience to speak of. I have Stan and Mary, and James Eller came, and Jack Gallman came, but it has become very obvious by some of the emails that I received yesterday that my show is being boycotted. I guess people just don't want to learn, or I can't buy them mass quantities of gifts or whatever. But we do have a big drawing coming up on the Lodo coin collecting show on April the 12th. And we are on every show I do adding people to the qualifying list. So how we're doing it is we're drawing out a dog or a cat card from the box from whoever the bot decides is going to get to play. So we are gonna, if you have not posted in the live stream in the last 15 minutes, post something in there. I got the dogs and the cats. I woke up. I haven't fed them yet, so they're ready to be grumpy, and they're in the box here. They want to come out. Put some more people on the list. You can be on the list more than one time. So I'm just gonna, since there's only 3 people, there's actually 4 people that have shown up this morning. I don't even know if we're gonna draw a dog or a cat. I think what we're gonna do is, just for showing up this morning, everybody who showed up is gonna get an entry today. Now, the contest is not until April the 12th. We are giving away a silver round. We are giving away a Centec 1,000 gram digital scale, as well as some other coinage. So, let's see who all came in today. And those people don't know what they're missing, so they can all be mean to me if they want. I don't care. They can just be plain old mean. I know that this morning we had Mississippi Mary, detecting. We had the Lucky James Eller, who has a ton of entries in here. We have Stan CT. We had Jack Gallman. And I'm not even making anybody guess cats or dogs this morning. I'm not giving the Nightbot a vote. So those 4 of you, just simply for showing up, have received an entry into the contest. So I'm going to read you the list so far of those who are in the contest. I started adding people back at the end of March. And you will hear some names over and over again, because how this is going to work, I'm giving prizes to people that actually support my channel. I'm not, if you can't bother to show up, I'm not going to spend my time and money mailing stuff to you. So far, these are the people who have gained entry into the April 12th contest. Jaji Music Man Coins, U.S. Silver Stacker, McHammer Plus Art, David Carlisle, Hoover's Corgis and Coins, Combat Roll Hunt, I used a bad pen, and it's the telephone guy, Kathy's Corner, Jack Gallman, Silver Bull 30, Jesse O, Dirt Troll and Troy, who got 2 entries because he pulled a joker. Les Likes Coins also has 2 entries. Charles Latree, Lucky James Eller, Mud Swat got 2 entries for pulling a joker. Another one for Lucky James Eller. Scratch and Go Crazy. Another one for Lucky James Eller. Another one for Charles, who just wandered into the room. Good morning, Charles. And you're getting an extra one for showing up this morning. Since we had so few people, I just gave everybody that came in the room an entry. Yeah, that's a good scale, too. I've tried it out. Okay, so then Cynthia Swearingen, Mississippi Mary Detecting, another one for Lucky James Eller, another Stan CT, another for Jack Gallman, and another for Charles. So even though there's a lot of names on there, some of you guys have shown up every day and gotten your name on. So the more you show up in my shows, the more opportunity you have to win those prizes. And this is a really nice little scale. This scale was donated by Archaeology Mikey 007. He already had one, and someone did not realize it and gave him another one as a holiday gift. So you can see it has not been out of, it's still in its packages. And I have another one that if I hit 800 subscribers by the time of the giveaway, I may also give away a second scale. This is, I personally use one of these, but I have 2 of them. This is the WG220 rechargeable pocket scale. I like this one because it comes with the calibration tool. Its precision goes to 0.01 grams. Operated with USB. It has a really cool lid that covers the whole tray. I have 2 of these because I was stupid and I couldn't figure out how to use the first one, so I thought it was broken, but it actually was not. And see, this one comes in this really cool case. Has your calibration weight, all your instructions. Both of these are very nice scales and suitable both for coin collecting and metal detecting. I have, on a couple of occasions, been in a situation where I needed to go sell scrap silver and gold rings, and I am not familiar with the dealer in this area. So I weighed all of my things before I took them, and he was trying to pull a fast one on me and telling me that I had far less weight there than I did. And I just very politely reached into my handbag, pulled that scale out, set it down on the counter, and watched the guy's face go white. Very, a whiter shade of pale. He did a Procol Harum thing. And then he made me an offer for the metal that was much more realistic, and I picked up all my metal and put it back in its plastic bag and told him no thank you. You're only going to try to cheat me one time, and then I don't deal with you anymore. So those scales are small enough you can carry them around with you and save yourself from being ripped off. I mean, he was trying to rip me off for like 40, $50. It wasn't like $2 or $3. So I'm going to do one more of these rolls of nickels. Those of you who were not here last night did not hear the story about my box of nickels. I got a box of nickels and a box of pennies yesterday, and they were supposed to be circulated, but I can only see maybe 6 rolls in this box that look like they have any circulated coins in them at all. The bulk of the box contained nothing but 2020 Ps, and to my knowledge, there's not any like really exciting thing about 2020 Ps that I need to be saving a whole flipping box of them. So if y'all know of any reason why I would need to save a whole box of 2020 Ps, let me know. But I did pull out the 5 or 6 rolls that look like they had like a dirtier ender or something. And I did find a 1947 nickel in one of them last night, but the bulk of these are not. Oh, now this is a Lewis and Clark, so we'll keep that one. I have a whole jar of those. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with them, but something. So this roll has been circulated, but the vast majority of the coins in it are all 2020 Ps. So after I get back from the doctor today, I'm going to roll them all up, and I'm taking them back to the bank tomorrow. I'm sure I have enough nickels to fill in the blanks. I will save some that clearly are not scratched and look pretty much uncirculated, but in general, I was highly disappointed because who wants to sit here and just look at that over and over again? And I did find in one of the rolls, I found a 1985 Canadian beaver nickel. So I got him in the Canada box. There's a 64. But as you can see, the vast majority of them are nothing but 2020s. I also got a penny box, and it's an interesting box. I've only done a few rolls of it. I wasn't going to do it at all. I was saving it for a nickel or a penny box challenge, but after the nickel box was such a letdown, I decided to play with some pennies. There are some in there that are customer rolled. There are some in there that are bank rolled. And then there are some that are rolled by a customer who put his initials on the rolls. So I think what I'm going to do is take these nickels back after I get them all. I'm only doing about 10 rolls of them. The rest of them are obviously 2020s. And I'm going to take these all back, and I'm going to get boxes of pennies. And eventually somebody will decide they're not mad at me, and we will do a penny roll hunt. But here's a dark one, but it's a newer one. A little grim looking character there. The reason I can afford to do this is I finally put my information into the IRS where's my stimulus check thing, and it tells me that my stimulus check will be deposited on Wednesday. So I'm getting a few boxes and using the rest of it to pay off bills so that in future months my meager $800 will be able to cover my expenses. So this is a little treat for me to get to do some coins. Let me put these in there. That's more 2020s. And there wasn't a whole lot of excitement in there. Yeah, I did finish one of the books last night, so I was real happy about that. I finished one of the quarter books out of the car wash. So I do have another book to give away. And I got this 1 penny book. I got to find 2 pennies to go in. Oops, that's the quarter book I finished. Yeah, I have this 1 penny book that it's only missing 2 pennies. And I'm sure I can probably come up with them. This is the Whitman number 2, 1941 to 1974. And it is missing the 1954 and the 1968 S. So once I get those 2 in here, this will also become a giveaway book because I have my original penny book that I started when I was in junior high school in 1968, 67. When I was 15, I got a job at a grocery store. And my boss was pretty cool about letting me put any coins that I was interested in over on the side of my till. And he would put them in an envelope. And then when I got paid at the end of the week, I would buy those coins out of my till at face value. So the only part of my coin collection that I still have from those days are those penny books, because somehow they got hidden away at my mom's, and I don't even know how, because they were hidden away at a house I never lived in that time frame. But after my mom died, I found them in her linen closet. All of my other coin collection was stolen in the late 1970s by I don't know any other way to say it, by a junkie. My boyfriend had a friend that he had been friends with since kindergarten who had access to our house, and she decided she needed a fix and took my coin collection and sold it for face value. So, whoever got that made a pile of money. So, time is it? It's 9:08. I probably should go, but I think I'm going to open one more roll of nickels. I've only got 5 left that look like they have any promise at all of producing anything besides 2020s. So what the heck, we're going to open one more, and then my coffee will be gone, and we can all start our days. Well, James, you sure got enough entries in there. You've got a decent chance of winning one of those scales, that's for sure. I also have someone who sent me an email saying they were sending me a box of things to give away. So there may be some other completely different stuff that I have no idea of what we're giving away. So, yeah, I'm in my house coat, people. It's morning. So I'm going to do one more roll of nickels and then we're going to get out of here. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to have news articles. I was kind of challenged saying that I would not be able to find many of those, but I have actually found some pretty interesting ones, particularly about the different claims of how metal detectors were invented, what they were used for. So tomorrow we're going to focus a little on that, and that's also going to lead us to some counterfeiters. I got some goodies about counterfeit coins. And sometimes we need to know that stuff because, especially if you're a metal detectorist and you're out in the field and you find this coin and you think it's a Connecticut copper or something, and it could turn out to not be what it appears to be. So some of the counterfeit articles and the ingenuity of how these people actually created their equipment to counterfeit is pretty amazing. 1954. There's a keeper. I was a baby in 1954. That could have been in my piggy bank. I have a funny story about my piggy bank, actually. My sister likes to tell this story at family functions. And it goes a long way to my obsession with money, I guess. When I was about, I'm going to say 4 or 5, I got a great big pink plastic piggy bank as a birthday gift. And there were a number of relatives there at the house. My grandparents were there from Iowa, which we lived in Florida. So my grandparents were there. One of my aunts and uncles and their baby, and a couple of other aunts and uncles and such. And I unwrapped this plastic piggy bank. Now, we were poor. So I don't know where, I think the piggy bank probably came from like a Goodwill or something. I don't think it was new, but we did not have a lot of money. And I was so proud of this piggy bank. And I'm taking this bank around the room, for everybody to put some money in it. Well, yeah, most of them are putting in pennies and, maybe I think my Aunt Vesta put a quarter in. Oh, there's a buffalo, a new old buffalo, 2005 buffalo. So I'm carrying this bank around to each person. And they're putting in the little dimes and pennies and so forth. And I get to my grandfather. Now, my grandfather was a pretty big dude, so I figured, he's a big dude. He should have big money. So he puts in a couple of pennies. And I looked at him and I said, it takes 50-cent pieces too. Now, I was on the hustle. I'm 5. I'm on the hustle. I'm like, all right, get off your cheap selves, folks. The slot's big enough. You can put a 50-cent piece in there. And I kind of been that way about money ever since. And I think it's because I grew up with none. But yeah, I apparently embarrassed and humiliated my grandfather into putting a 50-cent piece in my piggy bank when I was 5. Unfortunately, the money that went in that bank I never saw, because one day when I was at school, my father took all the money out of the bank. And at the time, I just thought it was a horrible, mean thing to do. I did not realize at that age that the reason that my father had taken the money out of the bank was because we didn't have gas for the car or food for the kitchen. So my dad had helped himself to my bank. Uh, it took me a long time to understand. My dad had what back then was called shell shock. Now it's post-traumatic stress disorder. But he would do whatever he had to do to make sure that things got taken care of. And if it meant waiting till you went to school and selling your bicycle or raiding your piggy bank, then that was what he did. But yeah, the story of me soliciting 50-cent pieces for my piggy bank has become legendary in our family. And here I am, 68 years old, and I'm still stacking money in piggy banks, so to speak. Well, it wasn't a whole lot exciting in that role either, but watching Godzilla versus Kong last night. Yeah, I actually signed on a little bit later than usual today, hoping that I would get a few more people. It's not a show for everybody, you know. A lot of people they just don't care about the educational background. It's like I've described it a couple of times to people as comparing uh, TLC to PBS. They both have an audience, but it's a very different audience. And this show is more aimed toward uh, learning about how our hobbies that we look at now so casually, how different they were 40, 50, even 100 years ago. So, like I said, I always wanted to be a teacher. So that's kind of what I'm going. I don't expect it to be like a million people signing on every morning to watch this. It's just a wake up morning where you can learn a little something that's news that is not news about people hating people or who got shot overnight. This is just a little bit of news you can use in your hobby or hobbies, and hopefully take you off on your morning adventure in a good mood. Said it's 9:17 there. Yes, it is 9:17. I am in Eastern Daylight Time. I'm in the state of Virginia. So yes, it is 9:17 here. Uh, and I have to start getting ready to go to the doctor and pay a couple bills now that I know that the stimulus check is definitely coming. I was so excited. I punched in my little information for about the 100th time, and it told me that my check will be deposited tomorrow. So I don't have to worry about paying this month's bills. Uh, on the first of the month, I paid only the ones that had to be paid by the third. So now I've got to go back and pay the rest because I can. So I appreciate all of you who came in today. We, I hope, learned something new and had a little bit of fun and got you some more entries in the contest. I'm going to make a spreadsheet where I can get this list tidied up a little better. I don't want anybody to get shortchanged on their entries. And we will, and the thing about it is, the people who are going to show up because they see there's a video for a giveaway, they're not going to be able to get in because they didn't follow the rules. And the rules are pretty simple. Just come check into my channel, see what's going on, play a little cats and dogs. I just want to reward those who are part of my channel family. And so that's how we're going to do it. Well, there's Werner. Yeah, there's Werner. Werner gets a freebie. We got everybody that showed up today. We didn't even do the cats and dogs. We just gave everybody who showed up in this morning's stream a free entry into the contest. And Werner, I am so excited. My $1,400 stimulus check will be here tomorrow. So that means I get to pay my bills. Yay! Okay. Oh, and I had an article. I gotta save it, but it is an article from Germany. So from the 1950s. So we'll save that for the next time Werner comes in. Werner is in Germany, folks. Everybody say hi. We are now international this morning. So, yippee yay. I was just getting ready to sign off and get ready to go to the doctor and see if they can figure out what's wrong with my brain. And I've got my metal detector on the charger behind me. So, yeah, I went detecting the other day and didn't charge up the battery. So, we got it covered now. I'm getting everything charged up. I'm going to make a video when I come home from the doctor about the care and feeding of your detecting equipment because I made a total failure of my detecting trip the other day. I did not have a single thing prepared, and I thought I had everything organized. Yeah. so we're going to get a funny video later of what happens when little Suzy goes out to metal detect and has done none of her homework and still managed to come home with a few finds. So on that note, y'all have a great day. Be nice to everybody. There is absolutely no need for all of this horrible prejudice and hate and finger pointing and blaming. I am so sick of people blaming China for a virus. I am sick of people blaming Mexican babies for immigration issues. I'm just we need to stop that. We need to just start treating everybody the same. I believe the old line was do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So let's go with that one for today. And yeah, Werner, I hope my brain's not beyond repair too. But they're going to have to get in there and poke around and look, I think, to make sure. So everybody have a wonderful day. I may see you later on. If not, tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the United States is my metal detecting show, Sweeping the Dirt. And we will be signing up some more cats and dogs. And I am going to go see if I can find some other critters, since by popular demand we have been asked for other critters. So anyway, 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, Eastern Daylight Time. It'll be metal detecting, coinage, yeah, carnage maybe. Who knows? But we'll be here, and I hope you will too. It's Suzy Q96 saying have a wonderful day. Be kind to your brothers and sisters. Bye bye.